Kay Crystal Griffith here, and welcome back for your daily digest of emotions, wisdom, and your body. Did you know that your body is your body, your wisdom? I'm going to get it out in a minute. Let's just try again. Emotions are your body's wisdom. I have been working on far too many things today. Can you tell? I'm so glad you guys are able to join us for just about 15 or 20 minutes today to delve deeper into how your emotions are affecting your body, soul, and spirit. Today, we've got a really good word, especially for those of you who know the big Valentine's Day is just around the corner. So here's your disclaimer. I am not a doctor. I do not play one on any social media platform or on TV. And I am here as a researcher and educator with my master's degree, inner healing certifications, and other trauma certifications. And I'm really wanting to offer you some education, edification, and some encouragement on how to work with those emotions you feel. So what is our word for the day? How would this be tied to Valentine's Day? We've already done love and a couple of anticipation words. Today is yearning or longing. I don't know about you, but I have a teenager in my house who just longs for the day her knight in shining armor is going to show up at her door with a bouquet of roses and sweep her off her feet onto some white horse and they ride off into the sunset. Yes, we've had that conversation. That's not reality, but hey, she's 15 and let's let her live in her delusions. Okay, guys. So what does yearning and longing mean? And are they really the same word? Yearning is really a feeling of intense longing for something. So notice longing's part of yearning's definition. It's also to have an intense, deep-seated longing or desire for someone or something, especially in a slightly melancholy capacity. So it's almost like it doesn't quite make you sad to yearn for something, but boy, it would make you sure happy if you got it, right? Now, synonyms for yearning include desire, longing, hunger, urge, yen. Not really sure why that one's in there, but hankering, pining, a need, a wish, an appetite. Now, longing is the earnest and deep, not greatly passionate though, but rather melancholic desire, while yearning seems to be a little more wistful or melancholy longing. I know, it's almost like they define each other, don't they? Now, I want to throw in one other term here because it does apply. Nostalgia. Now, nostalgia is tied to a yearning, but from really a grief perspective. It's accessing memories of happier times in an attempt to counteract any negative feelings like fear or anxiety that may be present. This is very true when you've had the loss of a loved one. Now, yearning can also be an emotion, an action, or even a thing. Now, if you have that yearning for more than, say, 4 to 6 months, then it really becomes a state of being, and we have crossed over to really needing some therapy and some help for it. Now, could this be negative or positive? Really is both, and it makes the difference of how long that yearning lasts. Again, at the point of 6 months, you're creating a whole nother cycle and neuroplasty rut in your brain that is not going to serve you well. So what really are the body effects? How does the brain interact? How does your body interact with all this? So research indicates that yearning peaks at around 4 months. And if someone continues to experience a strong sense of yearning, along with other grief symptoms after 6 months, they probably would benefit from some actual clinical help. Okay. Now, nostalgia, on the other hand, has the capacity to generate positive effects. It bolsters social bonds, and there is an increase in positive self-regard. So you're utilizing nostalgia of accessing memories of those happier times to counteract those negative feelings, remember? So it's actually helping you move through the situation. Now, when there's a social situation, really one is more apt to be triggered by anxiety or fear. And nostalgia about those relationships from the past can help bolster confidence in one's ability to interact, open up, and bond with others. Now, for many, we just went through the holiday season, and this may have been the first holiday season without a very special loved one. And in that case, you had a lot of nostalgia, their favorite Christmas ornament or holiday traditions, or what they might have liked the most about the season, or maybe they made that special dessert or pie or turkey or ham, or they always set the table, or it was always hosted at their house. Many of us experienced nostalgia just from that perspective of being in the quarantine and not being able to be in the middle of our Christmas traditions. And so we were accessing those positive memories that we'd had before, and really gave us a new opportunity to say thank you and to appreciate all of those traditions that we've had in place before. And really the opportunity to appreciate those that we had in our lives that may not be there now, at least not physically, right? So oftentimes that nostalgia can help counteract the feelings of isolation as well by remembering important relationships from the past and bringing them into the present. So many of us have had Zoom Christmases if we are set apart, especially military families. They tend to have a lot of Zoom events. I remember when Skype used to be the thing and now it's Zoom. I can't tell you how many Christmases and birthdays and anniversaries and all those fun things that we had by Skype. So here's an example of how part of yearning can actually go awry, though. So yearning for, say, a mother or a father's love and attention is really a hallmark of a daughter. And that daughter will deal with it by either cutting off her emotions and her emotional needs consciously and subconsciously. And then are those who are consumed by that yearning, trying to keep that parent's attention, sometimes turning to unhealthy substitutions to fill those holes in their hearts. So this is a place where it becomes too much emotion for us, right? That yearning has lasted well past 6 months, and it really has gone into further past even a grief state of grieving what they never received from their parent, and then how to fix it. Now they want to be either that savior of that relationship, or they're looking for a savior to come save them because they never had certain very unique and very foundational needs. That's the word I was looking for. Foundational needs that they needed to have met as in their childhood. So it's really important that as children, that yearning is met. So I'm going to kind of get on a soapbox for just a second. So there was a gentleman who wrote a book that basically told parents to let their kids cry it out. I'm a firm believer that I don't believe that. Those kiddos are crying for a reason. Now, can they be manipulative? Okay, so they're at 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months old. By 4 months, my child certainly had a personality. It was very clear cut at 4 months. So yes, but as a parent, here's the thing. You really begin to identify those, because if you are actively involved in your child's life, you're going to know what the real cries are and what their cries are that they just don't want to go to sleep. And so it's super important that you begin to identify the differences between those, because when you just let them cry it out for 10, 20, 30, 40, I know parents who let them cry it out for 2 hours. And everybody is going to have their unique parenting situations. I totally understand that. But I would tell you there's a reason that your kiddo is crying. And the quicker you can solve that problem and figure out what they need, the quicker they're going to go to sleep. And so sometimes it's better for you to figure that out. Case in point, I have a teenager that if I would just take the extra 10 minutes each time she needs to go to bed and just hear about all of the ways she needs to solve the world's problems, she will go to sleep much faster than if I go get in the bed, it's time to go to sleep. And I don't just sit there and listen to her for 10 minutes. It's amazing, even at 15, how well this works. Okay. So now what's another piece about having perhaps too much yearning or longing? Creative leadership suggests kind of a different approach. And I really thought this was interesting because I offer what's called an identity vision board workshop. And we really talk about that identity of who we are and how that ties to our longings and our visions for our future. Now, they're talking about that longing, yearning, and identity all together. So if you're longing to try new things out, explore new avenues, those desires are so strong that you spend an enormous amount of time and energy in those areas. Those could be gardening, it could be photography, it could be car repair, it could be even hiking. It could be any number of those avenues, right? So what's the difference then between longings, roles, and identities? So when it comes to identity, there are 2 major questions to answer. One is, who am I? And the other one is, who can I be? So who am I and who can I be? And those identities are not answered by anyone or anything on this planet. Those identity questions are answered by your creator. And who you are is royalty. You are cherished, you are treasured, and you are a masterpiece. And who you can be is having a major impact as a kingdom impact player within the kingdom that God has offered you and invited you to be a part of. Now, those are pretty big answers to identity questions. A lot of people think those answers are going to come from all the labels that we tend to give here on earth. Well, I'm a daughter and I'm a sister and I'm a parent and I'm a wife and I'm a spouse and I'm a military brat and any number of those things, right? I'm an entrepreneur, right? Now, when it comes to longing, though, there are two major questions to be answered. What can I do to quench this desire? And how can I help myself? And those are two very different questions for longing. So how can I quench this desire of perhaps exploring these new avenues? And how can I help myself in determining what new avenues need to happen in my life or which avenues I'm going to pursue? Very different than those labels, even that the world gives you, and even different than what your creator gives you, right? Now, identity is more about being, and longing is more about the doing, the new adventures, right? So the more that you do something, it may become part of your being. So many people, the first thing, oh, so what do you do? That's first conversation, right? What do you do? Well, I'm an accountant, or I'm an engineer, or I'm a teacher, or I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, whatever the answer is, right? And we think that that is who we are. That is not your identity. That's a label. Now, the more that you become something, you may do more of the becoming activities. So, for example, the more that, say, you pick up photography and you like to be out and taking all the pictures, and I am a photography buff, right? So do I do it professionally? Nope. But there are some of my friends who will call me a photographer. In fact, one of my friends has asked me to help her with her wedding, and I've done that before. I love it. Have a great time. Would never want to get paid for it. Okay. So I know where my identity stops and I know what my doing is, right? My doing versus my being, right? All right. Now, there is a very thin line there for many people, and it's very subtle. And if you're not careful, you may confuse the being and the doing. The big part of that is your self-image and what arises from whether you're doing or you're being in your identity or your longing. So here's a simple question that creative leadership put out there, and I think it's a great idea to really talk about a countermeasure to whether or not this yearning or longing has gone too long. So here's how to clarify. The question that you really want to ask yourself is, will I enjoy doing whatever this is for the next X amount of years of my life? So for example, will I enjoy taking pictures for the next, say, 50 years of my life? For me, that's a yes. I love taking pictures. Now, I don't want the pressure though. And I know that. I don't want to get paid for it. I just want to take the pictures. If you enjoy it, have at it. Right, here's your pictures, right? But I just don't want the pressure. That's not, it's something that I want to turn from a hobby into a payment. Now, will I enjoy offering inner healing for the next 50 years of my life? Absolutely, without question, because God created me with these gifts and talents that are able to help people access Him in a whole new level, a whole new depth, a whole new way that brings freedom to their life and breakthrough to their life. And because of that, that is rooted in my identity. You guys see the difference? So that is something that lights up my life. I love hearing how God has solved problems for people's lives. And it brings such joy to me and fills my love bucket, I guess is what you call it. And so that gets you guys a breakthrough, and I get to be a part of it. And that makes me so excited. Now, I still don't feel the pressure, because guess what? It's not me doing the work. It's Him. And I'm just the mouthpiece. And I'm just saying, hey, have you considered this? Hey, have you thought about this? Hey, God's suggesting this emotion. Let's see where we go with it. And so I'm just the conduit for it. Takes a lot of pressure off when you don't have to be in charge, let me tell you. Now, what if you answered no? What if, will I enjoy doing this photography for the next 50 years of my life? And I'm like, yeah, probably not, right? Or I could say that about gardening. Like, I'll garden a little bit, but no way do I even want to do that 6 more months of my life, let alone 50 years of my life. There's a definite nope to that one. That could just be a longing where I just wanted to plant the garden. So I had some green beans that were more easily accessible than going to the store. Okay. And that, with a little time dedicated in life, a few projects here or there, that desire could be checked off. And then you feel happiness inside because you did the activity and you tried it. So for example, when I did the zip line, I did it once. I'm good. Desires checked off. No problem. Bungee jumping, no desire. Don't need to check anything off for it. You guys getting the point? I hope so. All right, so I want you to think about things in your life. So really, what would you enjoy doing for X amount of years in your life? If there's a yes, then ask the Lord, how's your identity tied into that? And if there's a no, it's just a longing. So let's make a checklist. That's your bucket list, so to speak, right? So what are our verses here? And I wanted to kind of clarify this longing versus yearning piece for you guys. We long to be in heaven. We long for that. We know it's coming. We'd love for it to be yesterday so we can be out of this chaos, right? But we also long for Jesus to return. We know that's coming as well. We just don't know when, right? Wouldn't it be awesome? By the way, if you've not seen the new movie, Heaven, you should totally go see it. You'll understand why I say that right then. Now, the other option is we yearn to be with the Father, or we yearn to be with Jesus. And those are those longing desires. Remember, both of them talk to each other. Longing desires that we know can happen. And so Isaiah 26:9, at night, my soul yearns for you, Lord. Indeed, my spirit within me seeks you diligently. For when the earth experiences your judgments, the inhabitants of the world will learn righteousness. We could pray for that right now, couldn't we? Psalm 119, 174. I am longing for your deliverance. We don't know when it's going to happen, right? And your instruction is my joy, Lord. And then Galatians 5:5. We have not, for through the Spirit we wait with longing hope for the acceptance with God, which is to come through faith. So how are you going to use this new information about yearning and longing? A little touch of nostalgia in there. Remember, wisdom is the hearing, understanding, and application. And here are your 3 questions. How has yearning or longing been showing up in your life? Has it been positive? Has it been bolstering? Or has it been negative? And you've been there maybe a little too long, and you might need some help coming out of it. So how can you be transformed or transform your yearning or longing? By wisdom, understanding, and knowledge as you walk in it forward in the future. So I'd love to hear how you apply this to your life. So go live, share with us. What was the most unexpected thing that you learned about yearning and longing, and a little bit of nostalgia in there? Tomorrow's word is tired. That's ASL. Tired. It may be body, it may be soul, and maybe spirit from that constant longing or yearning. How do you get refreshed out of that? So let's talk again tomorrow. For more emotions, wisdom in your body. Meanwhile, register at kcrystalgriffith.com to receive more insights and your feelings wheel. Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Take care. God bless.